bones will rattle, stairs will creak. Your outcome's looking pretty bleak. Thunder booms and lightning crashes, leaving boots filled with ashes. As we lay you down to rest, we read the pages of the Dead Man's Digest.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of the Dead Man's Digest. This is the review episode. Joining me on the show, we have Nina.
Hello.
And Travis.
What's up, Digesters?
Digesters, nice. So we've all been to the event at least twice. Travis has been a third night as well.
How many nights have there been?
Yep.
3.
So all of them.
Yes. So yeah, we're going to do our review show the good old-fashioned UUOP way, and that's in a list from 9 to 1. Yay. Lee should appreciate this. Yep. So we're going to start off with our least favorite and go to our favorite, and I'll tell everybody that was my recommendation because I like to leave you all on a high note. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw mine out first here, okay? Number 9 on Darren's list.
Go.
This might be a little shocking to people.
I think we're all going to have this one.
Mm-hmm.
Are we? Because my number 9 is Krampus.
No.
Oh, maybe not.
Yes, that's right. My number 9 is Krampus, and it's not even, I don't even feel like the house maybe even deserves it, but watching the movie and getting so excited for the characters and hyping it up so much and feeling like you're so excited for those particular characters, and then actually seeing them was such a letdown for me personally in this house. The house isn't a terrible house. I don't think any of the houses are terrible this year, really. But the just personally for me, we didn't talk about this. Are we spoiling this? I guess we are going to.
Yeah, so this is not spoiler free, so beware.
Yeah. So if you haven't gone and you're excited, and we're going to talk about some specific things, we'll try not to give away the whole house or anything, right? Maybe. We'll see. Yeah. We'll just see how it goes. Just be warned.
A lot of people probably turn it off.
Yeah, but the Krampuses don't move. I'm just gonna say that. Like, none of the Krampuses move, and that was a huge letdown for me. I thought that would have been a perfect use of the American Werewolf machinery, basically, that they use for the wolves, is to have that control Krampus's face.
Yeah.
I think that would have been pretty effective,
Yeah, the movie, he's large and scary and daunting.
Mm-hmm.
The house, he was still frozen and not facing you.
Yeah. That's one of the things that got me about the house. I mean, about the movie, is that he moves so fast. He's huge and he moves fast. That's like the whole point of it. That's what makes him terrifying. One of the things that make it terrifying. So,
right.
Yeah. So having him completely still, even though he looked cool in some of the scenes, I just would have loved at least some kind of motion in there, and then at least one like actor Krampus.
Yeah.
If they can do a bear, they can do a Krampus.
And okay. Right.
So yeah, ultimately that's why that got 9 for me.
So I disagree. I actually chose Lunatics Playground 3D. You won't stand a chance. I'm sorry, Chance. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get that many scares. Usually I enjoy the 3D houses, but I actually enjoyed it, without the 3D glasses. You suggested that to me, and I actually enjoyed it a lot more. I was able to see the detail in the makeup. I don't know. I feel like it didn't even live up to last year's 3D house with Alice in Wonderland. I don't know. That's my number 9. Just lack of scares, lack of 3D effects. They had the cool swirly, twisty room, when you're falling. It looks like you're trying to walk straight and you can't, like...
The tunnel?
Tunnel. There you go. Tunnel.
All right.
So it did have that
The one that they have in every 3D house.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, yay, but that was my number 9.
My number 9, I'm going to go ahead and agree with Nina.
Yay!
I do think it was better than Asylum in Wonderland last year. Scares really aren't there, but I feel like the set design is a little bit better than Asylum in Wonderland. I feel like the makeup on the Chances look kind of like her. They're not totally perfect, but I don't know. They look more like her with the 3D glasses, and then when I went through it, they kind of looked a little bit more off.
Yeah, it's
but
I guess kind of like beer goggles with the 3D glasses on. It makes everything a little blurry and foggy, and it'll make people look a little bit more like who they're supposed to portray as opposed to how they actually look. But and I do understand they got to put that makeup on a lot of people, so it's not like they can spend the same amount of time that they do, with Aaron. As with everybody else, they're not gonna put that much detail into the work. So
yeah. Yeah, I felt like there was a lot more scares. I feel like it was a little bit more, like it was still like a comedy standard 3D house, but I felt like it had a lot more scares than Asylum in Wonderland had last year.
Oh, I do agree with that.
So, like, that's why I liked it a little bit better. I felt like the flow was a little bit better. You weren't, going back and forth into rooms. So I guess that has to do with the fact that it wasn't in the Shrek 3D or the Shrek queue, so you weren't led in a weird path. They had more of a straight line path. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't horrible, but I mean, there's a lot of strong houses this year, so I had to put this on at number 9.
Yep. Well, let me just continue the train right here, because number 8, I have Chance. And I'll just say my piece about that. The only thing that was really interesting and new for me was the new location. Being able to see that, and it's a pretty good spot. I think it'll be used well in the future, but I think it is going to be. I think that's going to be the new location for like the 3D house permanently. It just seems like the kind of location that kind of fits it. A lot like at Busch Gardens, they have the Circus of Superstition that they've been doing for several years now, and it's in an outside like white tent like that one was. And I think it's conducive to that kind of effect. I liked the individual like kill scenes that were going on with the security guards in there. That's why I put it slightly above Krampus. There was a lot more action in the house. I also liked the idea behind it. Now it's really hard to follow it when you're in there, but it is switching. They do truthfully do that switching back and forth with the siren basically. As you're going between the rooms, you're going from Chance's mind to the actual reality of what's going on back into Chance's mind. The downside I thought was they touted that the 3D paint that they were using this year for the Chromadeath glasses was supposed to jump out at you more than it did in previous years.
It looked the same
or less even. Like the first half of the house does not feel like even very like 3D at all when you're going through it. It's not until they get some like really good people that aren't Chance, the other inmates, had some cool paint effects on their faces. Right. And it wasn't until I saw them that it really hit me. As opposed to last year's Alice house, it was 3D off the bat and in your face, like big time, I thought. So that's why that one was down to the bottom of the list for me as well.
A lot of that is taken away too. Obviously, when you take the glasses off, the scares are a lot less prevalent when you take the glasses off. Like you can see where everybody is, but obviously that's not the way it was intended to go through it. So
yep, and just so you know, the common thread between that and Run from last year was the electricity panels they had. They were using those again in Chance, which I do love that effect. But I think it was kind of drowned out by the music and everything, the soundtrack in the Chance house versus the Run house. I think it was more prominent.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot louder than Asylum in Wonderland was too.
Yeah. So that was my number 9.
8.
Or my number 8.
My number 8 was Krampus. Your number 9 is my number 8. Krampus. So for basically the same reasons, being excited for certain characters. Even the little gingerbread man, I mean, they were all just little gingerbread figurines,
stationary,
glued to a kitchen. Okay? But I mean, I don't even remember being like there was no jump scare in there either. You just like simply walk through. I think I heard someone say it smelled like cookies. I didn't notice the cookie smell. Did you notice it?
It's towards the end.
Oh, okay.
It's gingerbread cookie smell.
Oh, but very. The set was gorgeous, but it was weird going through because you have this weird path because it is in the Shrek Theater. Just certain characters, I wanted them to be bigger, or I felt like they should have gotten they should have been the star of a certain scene, like in the attic, for example. Spoilers. That big Jack in the Box should have been bigger than just a little jump in the side. But overall, these are all fantastic houses. It's just lower on the list because just other ones did it better than that one could. But
it seems short too, didn't it?
Yeah, I felt short.
Yeah, I think with the Shrek building, putting the 3D house in there was pretty effective because everything is pretty much flat cardboard or plexiglass
And this was
panels.
impressive because you're in a house.
Like, yeah,
Full.
but having the full fleshed out house means a lot less space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, my number 8, which will probably shock people, but this is just my early review. My number 8 is American Horror Story.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I haven't watched the show. I tried to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to start with Freak Show. Couldn't get into it. It's a little slow. That's probably not the best one to get started with, but I felt like it fit the event a little bit more with it being, a carnival sideshow type deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like the house is just maybe too big. I mean, I guess I understand that they had to go big with it because it is a massive series, but I just feel like the scares aren't, at least through my 3 or 4 run-throughs, I didn't jump one time going through there. I don't know if maybe just the stuff doesn't scare me or what it was, but it's probably a mix between that and me not really knowing the series,
Yeah.
I feel like the scares are too spaced out. They're kind of obvious, and I don't know. That's pretty. I mean, the sets are beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful house, but it just didn't hit me like a lot of other people. It hit a lot of other people, so that's why I put it pretty low on my list. I'll give it a chance. Maybe it'll go up. So that's my American Horror Story.
And I agree with almost all of that you're saying. I think the reason why it's higher up on my list, at least, is just, how true it was to the show. It's incredible to see the likeness to the sets, the likeness to, especially, Freak Show and Hotel. But everything else you said, I completely agree. Spaced out scares and everything like that. Yep.
Yeah, this is. I feel like this is maybe like y'all's
Walking Dead
for me. Yeah, like because I actually watch the show and I relate to the things in that show. So I mean, I'm gonna try to catch more of American Horror Story. So hopefully, when I learn the stories and it's more relatable to me, it'll probably move up my ranking. And like I said, this event changes. I mean, it's only the first weekend, so this event will change drastically from now until, I mean, we still got, 27 days of the event, so who knows.
Well, my number 7, it was a nice segue from what you said, is The Walking Dead.
Me too. My number 7.
At least it's not number 9.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people were sitting there already pretty surprised, waiting for at least one of us to say it so far. It did not make it all the way to the bottom of the list because, believe it or not, I thought they did a pretty decent job with it this year. If you had to have a Walking Dead house, I think that was a good one.
Best of all of them, in my opinion.
Yep, and from what I've heard very recently, that seems to be very much happening. Unfortunately, is Terminator 2 looks to be the next thing up on the chopping block. Yeah, and that will be replaced by our year-long Walking Dead haunted attraction, which I believe will be pretty similar to this year's house, is why I bring it up.
I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, it featured all the seasons. Not every key scene that they ever did was there. I kind of missed the helicopter. And that was not in there, right?
Yeah.
I looked. I didn't see it.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't there. But I feel like that's a big set piece to put in.
It is.
I feel like they had better scenes to hit than just the.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not. I mean, it's kind of an iconic scene, but it's not really prevalent in the house.
Well,
it doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, but I mean, they spent a good chunk of a season in that warehouse, didn't they? Or that store /
they did,
warehouse
but
kind of thing, but
they did, but that's not that helicopter scene is not really. I mean, that's kind of like a afterthought. It's not really that big of a scene in the series.
Gotcha.
So
it just became a big scene for me because I liked seeing them put a helicopter in a building.
Hey, it made it to the Hollywood all year house in Hollywood. So
hopefully we'll get that.
I guess it was
too. Mike, if you're listening, if you're gonna have to put a Walking Dead year-long house on there, that would be a great addition.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they hit on all the key things. The bicycle girl and the jail, which
bloated
walkers in there. They had the zombie eating deer carcass thing. It's been in I think every house. They always try to throw that in no matter what. Terminus, everything like that. I think they did a great job. It was fast paced. So like it flowed really well. I think this time, like in previous years, it's been kind of harsh, like the cuts between the scenes. But it just felt like this one flowed really well from one scene to the next.
Ditto. Everything you just said. Ditto. I
didn't think you were going to agree with me. You're giving me like a death stare on that one.
No, I actually agree with you because I was trying to think, what else do I have to say? There's more. You see, we didn't really say anything negative about it. I think I was really...
Yeah, it's just other houses...
flowy, quick, much. Beautiful sets, those iconic scenes that now we know we don't watch the show, but now we've become fans of the scenes of the house. So now we're excited to see things come back.
So do me a favor.
Yes.
Do me a favor. I watch American Horror Story. You guys got to watch The Walking Dead.
Oh, fine, deal. You watch American Horror Story. We'll watch Walking Dead.
Yeah, you know what? If I can skip season 2, maybe I'll get into it. Season 2 is what got me.
It's not bad.
Was your 7 Walking Dead?
I mean, there's slow seasons. Like, there's slow seasons. Do what?
I said, was your 7 Walking Dead? But
no.
No.
Yeah.
They're saying there's some slow seasons and some quick seasons, and I've heard that. But yeah, we just have to get through it, and then maybe we'll appreciate the show more.
Yeah, you're going to appreciate it, and then Walking Dead ain't going to be there anymore.
No!
It'll be out all year.
Yeah.
Attraction. All right. My number 7 is going to be... You guys are going to hate me again.
No.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, my God.
What?
This is more... No, don't say anything. Let Travis say his piece, because otherwise we'll have nothing to talk about when we get to ours.
Okay, go.
So, Travis...
All right.
Explain yourself.
The reason my number 7 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre is more of the same from American Horror Story. I mean, I know Leatherface. I know what he looks like. Don't really know anything about the family or anything. Haven't watched the movie. It's a beautiful set, but it's more of I don't know the story, and it's more of obvious scares, and it's kind of a big, I don't know, I seem to be more of a fan of more confined houses, and this is just like a big, crazy house. So, I don't know. I feel like this one can grow on me more. Like I said,
watch the movie
it is
halfway
an early
through the
review.
season. Yeah, watch it and then go see it, and you'll see.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was just more of the same to me. It's just too many Leatherfaces. He just moves too slowly. He's not really that...
Pretty accurate.
Yeah, he's kind of boring. He doesn't...
I wholeheartedly disagree.
Wait your turn, sir.
I'm not, yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. And we already talked about how we were probably going to disagree vastly in this... But yeah,
I think one thing that sets us apart, me and you personally, is that I don't get scared in any of the houses. I haven't been scared in a house in a very long time. Every once in a while, I'll get like one little jump scare if they're really good. But other than that, like I am looking more at the set design and theming and costuming and everything like that more than the actual scares themselves. I think that's part of what makes our reviews different. Not that it's
I mean, I look at that too, but
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I try to combine them into a culmination of set design and scares. So like I said,
just
it can
can't
all
get me
change.
anymore.
I don't get that many scares in there. Like he's a menacing guy, but I guess maybe I like houses with more jump scares. I don't know.
Yeah. Totally a valid point to have.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Let's move on.
Number 6.
And we are moving on to number 6. That is, for me, anyways,
I haven't seen your list.
Ghost Town.
Oh.
Ooh. Ghost Town was a little bit of a letdown for me personally, and let me tell you why. That big openness that Travis was talking about, that's what I felt in Ghost Town. And it's not the scare actor's fault. They have to go with the plan and, you know, how they're told to jump out and what cues they have to, you know, work with and go with and all that. But I thought that was kind of goofy.
Gold.
That's my gold.
We'll look for a t-shirt soon from Travis. But yeah, I thought their sound cues were cheesy. I thought their makeup was cheesy. I thought it just looked really bad when you could actually see them up close. This was kind of, like, it felt more like a comedy house to me than a scare house, and it was the closest thing we had to a comedy house this year personally. We didn't have that like straight up just this is a comedy house, even because Krampus, I feel like they kind of tried to go too dark with it. If they would have gone, if they would have gone more towards the comedic end of it, I think it would have worked out a little bit better in my mind personally. But Ghost Town was not one I was expecting to have a comedic tint on, and it does. The set design in there is amazing. The lighting in there is very nice. They have some really cool scares. The piano is one of my favorites. To have that panel slide out of the piano and a guy jump out, that's pretty awesome. The barmaid at the place, you know, pulls the gun up, you know.
You son of a bitch.
Die some bitch.
Yeah. All that was really cool. I liked the windstorm going on outside, kind of that feeling. There was actually a couple of houses that made very good use of high-powered industrial fans this year, but yeah, the Ghost Town, all that I liked about it. But yeah, I did not like how they portrayed the scare actors and the cheesy things. And I don't know, one thing that was really funny and bizarre that I have to point out is there is one room where there is a skeleton of, I don't know, I guess it's supposed to be like an old-timey prostitute or something like that, dead in the bed, and there's like two scare actors on either side of the bed, and one of them is a guy who looks at you and he's like, ah! And he looks at your face and screams, and then he looks down at his crotch, and then you look down at his crotch because you have to, and it's just covered in blood.
Nether regions?
Yes, and it's just covered in blood, like something has been removed there. Which was like the most risque and funny thing I've seen in a house that Universal has done in a very long time. You know, they've been playing it so safe, you know, with their kind of stuff. Of course, they've been gory, but something like that is just, you know, beyond what they typically do in a house. So I kind of appreciated that just because it was so ridiculous and I did not expect it. So they got me there. But
I didn't even catch it until you pointed it out. So it's not that obvious. So
yeah,
it's kind of a little side joke. So
yeah,
unless you see it, you won't even know.
Mm-hmm. I think they need to adjust the cannon scene a little bit. I think they need like some kind of like a flash to come out of the cannon along with a loud noise, because
exactly.
That was one of the goofiest things, is the guy sits there and acts like he's lighting the cannon and everything. And then there's just like,
and then he just walks back and forth.
Yeah, and if you really listen hard, you hear a boom. And that's it. like this big badass
sounds like
cannon.
a fart or something.
Yeah.
A little fart.
And that's what you get. So that's why it's not anywhere higher on my list. It's not a terrible house by any means, and it has some really cool, memorable scenes. But overall, that's just how I felt about that one. So that's my 6.
My 6 is Exorcist. I'm sorry. I have to say sorry after each one. I feel like I have to justify. Well, Exorcist. I was as excited about Exorcist as I was for the, like Texas Chainsaw and Halloween and Ghost Town. So all the ones that we were really excited for. it was executed well. I can't complain. It's like halfway through my list almost, so it's not that I have anything bad to say about it. It's just not my favorite. I just feel like it wasn't executed as... it was executed well. It just was not monotonous. It was... I don't know, just wasn't my favorite. I enjoyed it the couple of times we went through it. I did like how every major scene was shown in different times. They did use animatronic Reagans. They did use, actress Reagans. They were able to use, religious themes, with the priest there and the power of Christ compels. You know how they are with God and Dog from Purge and stuff. So I was glad that scene was there with, the high-powered winds and then the, vomit smell, the mattresses, pushing through those. So it was executed well. I don't really have anything bad to say. It just was a little monotonous, like a little, just the same
a lot of the
throughout. Same. But that was, you couldn't be avoided. It's one set movie, but so that's what I'm saying. It's not bad to say. Even the beginning also, what's that mesh called? You always tell me. Scrim. Like, they did really well coming in there and, starting off in hell and seeing what she's feeling. And, I don't know. Overall was great. Don't have anything negative to say. Just slightly monotonous. But the other ones on the top of my list did better in certain areas. So,
all right.
That's it.
Well, my number 6 is Krampus. I felt overall the house was... a good representation of the movie. Snow scenes. The house was cold. The Krampuses, while they were there, they felt a little flat. I felt like they could have, had somebody in them or move them around. It's actually watching a video of Halloween or from Hollywood, and they let everybody, for whatever reason, they let everybody record in those houses. And there were a lot of Krampuses in there that actually moved around. Granted, they weren't as big as the actual Krampuses, but obviously in Hollywood, that would be a little bit harder because they're a little bit more cramped. And it would be hard to do a Krampus full size and have it move around.
Right.
Especially
I felt like... Yeah, I felt like that's where they fell a little flat. I felt like the Krampuses were kind of an afterthought, and his elves were more of in the limelight, which was kind of weird to me because Hollywood didn't have any elves at all.
Wow.
The guys with the big masks.
Yeah.
Didn't have any of those guys in their houses at all.
Yeah,
I felt like...
They were definitely the number one thing in ours.
Yeah. So, I mean... I feel like I'm saying this over and over again. The set design was good, but I felt like they fell a little flat on the Krampuses. Like Nina said earlier, the Jack in the Box character was kind of like off on the right hand side in the attic. He was like just kind of somebody standing there with a head on.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I loved about Hollywood is they had somebody on a bed in the Jack in the Boxes actually had somebody's body half inside and he was chomping.
Yeah,
so
I think that's
I felt
what
like they
needed
did
to
that.
be.
Yeah, I felt like they did that a lot better. I felt like the Jack in the Box could have been a whole scene instead of, the one scene where you went into the living room and it was just like a lazy boy, and there was like the Krampus off to the right hand side that had one of the elves just pop out. That was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of boring to me.
Yeah, and
but I liked going inside and outside.
Oh yeah, that was cool. And one thing we forgot to mention about that real quick is that they did find a use for that good old zombie cart.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
They stuck a bunch of masks and they threw it down a hallway.
Yeah, the zombie cart from The Walking Dead made its appearance there instead. It was kind of ridiculous.
Silly.
But yeah, I totally agree with you there. It's like why were I think that there's 3 different kinds of scare actors. There were the elves, which was the majority of them, 98% of them, and then the one Jack in the Box character, and then the girl getting strangled by the Christmas lights.
And the bear.
Oh yeah, there was a bear, wasn't there?
When you first go in the attic.
Yeah, he was awesome because he kind of pops out at you. I didn't notice that until my second run around.
Yeah, me too.
But
I didn't even see him the first time.
Represented it pretty well, but like everything was either off to the right or the left-hand side of you going through that attic. I don't think that attic scene was portrayed that well. I felt like they could have done something different in there. And there was just like that one whole room where it was just like you were walking through a white room with just a couple Christmas lights and then the attic access. It's like you could have done something better with that.
Yeah. And you know what? That tunnel, it felt like that was the exact same spot where like the rotating tunnel was in Alice last year. It was like there must be something like to do with that little area right there.
Maybe it's a hallway.
Yeah, that they have to use, that they have to do something like that. But that just really took me out of it because it just looks so cheesy, I think.
Well, I went through it last night and it was so fogged out you couldn't even see the characters on the. I think there's one that pops out at you on the right hand side. You couldn't even see them at all. It was just literal, just straight up fog, and you couldn't see anything. So I feel like Krampus, like it's going to be an overall theme here. I feel like the set design is decent, but the scares really weren't that in there. I like the smells. You get that gingerbread smell towards the end of the house, and I really like that one. So.
At the beginning, I think there was kind of like that pine and like fireplace burning kind of smell at the beginning going into it as well.
It smells like 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get that through there. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about Krampus.
All right.
Let's move on to 5.
Yeah, and I will say, from here on out, all these houses I loved, so it was very hard to sort them all out.
Yeah,
but,
really.
My number 5 was Tomb of the Ancients. As Travis was saying in the house, we call upon Olmec. Yeah. Legends of the Hidden Temple, I don't know. Okay.
I was old enough. I'm young, but not that young. Jeez.
Yes, this was really
the
cool.
Shrine of the Silver Monkey.
I think this house is really cool because I was expecting just like an Egyptian mummy kind of theme, but they kind of brought in the tombs of cultures from all over the world. That there was things like Angkor Wat that were represented there as well. You know, just a lot of like ancient ruins and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's not just Egypt; it's South America. There's Mexico, like the Aztec. There's
Yeah, exactly, and they were all portrayed pretty well. We had when we went on the media tour on Friday, our host, one of our guides,
humble brag.
One of our guides was really into that kind of culture, and he talked to us about it, and kind of told us like all the references that were in there. So that it was really cool to walk through there and see like some like historical accuracy mixed in with the just having fun and making an awesome house.
Yeah,
there.
I don't think any walls ever lit up blue.
Yeah, that maybe, you don't know, you weren't there. They had batteries, so they had to power something. Maybe it was to power their LED blue cool lights. You don't know. Yeah, I like the really claustrophobic nature of the house. I liked the scares were very effective in there, including some of the loudest sliding door slammers I've ever heard. Those were very impactful. They had a shifting floor.
Oh yes,
which very really gets you off guard because you're not expecting something like that. But it's so slight that it doesn't trip you. Like it feels
almost.
Exactly. It almost trips you every time, but it doesn't. Like, or else there would be a big problem there, and there would be a lot of people.
Yeah, that's where they get around.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I haven't heard anybody else mention this, so should we break it? Should we be the ones where you heard it first here? There's a guest-assisted trigger.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yay.
And I'm sure people have already done them asking the horror tour, so hopefully nobody said it yet. But right after those shifting floors, when you feel the floor shifting underneath you, you should reach out and grab for something to help stabilize you. And those things should be ropes on your right-hand side. Go ahead and pull those, and something's going to happen. And it's more effective. It's a bigger guest-assisted trigger than in a lot of the houses in previous years. Last year, the only one was Run,
A tiny little kid's
chainsaw, and it wasn't even really a trigger. It just was that little chainsaw. That's the sound it made, you know. So yeah, and I think the previous year before that, the Clown Factory house had like one that just made like a clown laugh, a button you pushed and the clown would laugh. So I mean that's.
What did this one do?
This one, I don't know if we should spoil it.
Fine, we'll leave it as a surprise. Whatever.
Yeah, we'll leave it as a surprise, but it's a very big, obvious thing. You might think that it's something somebody else is triggering, but it really is what you are triggering. It has to do with the drop door, I'll just say that. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
It's got the, doesn't it have like a skull on it? The rope?
Does it?
Hickey pole?
I thought it just had a big knot at the end. But you'll see, there's a lot of ropes.
There's all the ropes,
there.
yeah.
It'll stand out. It won't look like the rest.
Maybe I saw a skull on it.
Yeah, you might. Yeah, you might have.
Yeah, you've been through a little more than we have, but.
But yeah, so I
might have just been drunk, you know.
I like that. They had some really cool, like in your face, like intense scares going through there. This is the one house where they did get me like off guard once at the end, so I will give them credit for that. And then just overall, the set design, like I said, is amazing, and it's one of those houses that it's hard to comprehend when you get out of it that was in a tent. You got to like keep telling yourself that was not a soundstage house because it looks so good. So yeah, that is my number 5.
My number 5 is Ghost Town: Curse of the Lightning Gulch. So basically the same reasons that you had before, but I feel like I enjoyed it a little bit more than you did. I appreciated the humor in it. I know that's not they weren't intending it to be that way, but I enjoyed it, more than I did Exorcist or Walking Dead or even Krampus. They had that cool, I don't know if you noticed on the left, it was not a TV per se. What was that? Was it a projection of a lady ghoul? So it's kind of using like the same, Freddy vs. Jason last year, similar like screens, projection kind of thing, which I enjoy change, Makeup, I agree, didn't look ghostly. They just looked like skeletons. If that was what they were going for.
Or just sick, maybe.
Yeah,
they just need some water.
It's nothing against the makeup artists themselves. That's probably just what they, were intending them to look like.
They looked like dehydrated.
Yeah, a little dehydrated. But yeah.
They just drank a little too much the night before, that was all.
But I do like that. I know you both were saying that you don't like those big sets. Sometimes I actually enjoy that. It reminds me of
I never said I didn't like big sets.
It was like American Werewolf. You know how you went to that scene, the street.
Oh, very. That felt so similar.
It's like you're leading up to that big scene. It's like and it's like so much going on. But unfortunately, as beautiful and big and awesome as it was, that canon was lame. So, that was my 5.
All right. And that was kind of the centerpiece of that room too, which really I think brought that room down for me, even though it was so cool and big and open like it was. It was the same thing as in American Werewolf. It was this big, huge room where not a whole lot was going on. Mm-hmm. You had the Bobby on one side, and then one of the animatronic werewolves on the far other side of the room, and nothing in the middle. Mm-hmm. And that's the way this was. You had some guy jumping out at the beginning, and then at the end you had the cannon, but nothing in the middle of the.
But I did like the wagon that crashed through the wall, and there was caskets just sprawled out everywhere.
Yeah,
that was nice.
That is very cool.
All right, well, my number 5 is going to be The Walking Dead. The reason for this is I think this one overall is probably the best Walking Dead house they've ever done.
Hear, hear.
Yeah, it hits. I would even say it's better than 24. Their big Uber house they did for The Walking Dead in 24. Mm-hmm. I felt like I feel like I said earlier, I like this house better because it's kind of more of a claustrophobic, in your face house. There's scares every corner. They did a very good job of representing all of the different iconic scenes from all 6 seasons. None of the scares really felt cheesy to me. I like the projections in the tent and in the RV from the first scene. Mm-hmm. I mean, overall, it was just a good house. I mean, I don't really know what to say.
It's been there so much, it's hard to iterate anything on it, really.
Yeah, I mean, I like the layout of it. I felt like it was the best layout. Like I said, I like those more claustrophobic, in-your-face houses. They hit all the seasons. They hit the prison, and they did it a justice. So,
yep.
That's why I picked it for number 5. I mean, there's not really much more to say about it.
Yeah. And let me just say too, the riot gear zombies are my favorite zombies. They're the coolest looking things, I think. Definitely in that house, if not maybe one of the coolest things of the whole event. I just love that zombie and riot gear. It's so like badass.
Yeah,
just awesome. All right, well, we'll move on to my number 4 here, and that is Halloween 2. I thought this was a really good house this year, actually. I was a little worried about it being in the parade building and, you know, how the setup would be, but I think it worked out really well for the setting. Again, like you said in the other house, was it Krampus? You know, they did outdoors really well. They did outdoors a really good job in here too. You know, once you leave, I like how they started out with the last scene, with Michael Myers getting shot, and then you hear the audio cues from the doctor. I shot him 5 times and he didn't die. You know, those kind of things, and that's going on as you're walking through the town. And you know, going through like the back alleys between houses, it seemed like it was really neat. And they did still include Nina's favorite trick-or-treaters, the trick-or-treat guys from the previous year, even though they didn't really make an appearance in the second movie. I did appreciate them tossing them in again.
Right.
The hospital facade, as you walked around there, that also kind of reminded me of the American Werewolf setup. You know, like as you're walking through there, it gave me that kind of like back.
A lot of vehicles.
Feeling. Yeah. That gave me that same kind of feeling that Ghost Town did. So it was like that was their nice big open room for that one. And let me just push the fast forward button. I mean, they had a lot of cool kills and everything in there, but the one that put this so high on my list for me is that last room, the fire room. They did such a good job with the glowing embers of fire, with the burnt up Michael. I love that burnt up Michael in that room. It's so good. I just like, as I walked by him, I had to just turn around and keep watching him all the way till I walked out at the end. It's just so cool. The flame effects on the back wall, you know, just basically like a big projection of fire on the back was just so effective with that black charred wood and the embers that they had just constantly glowing there. Oh, that was just like one of the best like themed rooms in a house of all time, in my opinion. They put so much work into that last room. It's insane to me. So that is my number 4.
That's my number 4 too.
Oh yeah?
Actually, yeah, Halloween 2. I don't have anything negative to say about it. When we watched the movie, of course, the movie's not the best, you know, most exciting thing in the entire world. But, you know, I came in with a list of things I expected to see, like I wanted to see. And there was more than I expected. You know, the car, when, what's her face? Whatever, but she's in the car. And he's coming closer and closer to the car, and she runs to the front of the hospital. That was in there, that room you were talking about. And you feel like you were there. You went into the hospital. You had little security cameras, and you can see him walking down the hall, and you're like, oh my god, is he there? Yeah. All the major kills, the guy in the basement, the security guard, the other nurse, along with her standing there with the syringe, trying to find him to kill him. Just the couple, when he drowned the girl, she was in it. He drowned her.
Boiled/drowned.
Yeah.
I don't know what killed her. It was such a great house. It was, I didn't expect it to be so well done with the space they had, and I mean they did have a big, soundstage, but it was done well. I really, 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 really enjoyed this one. Awesome.
And I like the outside.
Oh yeah, that was kind of cool. Basically the VHS box of
Yeah.
Halloween 2.
Not bad at all. Looks cool at night. 2
stories tall.
Well, my number 4 is also Halloween.
Whoa!
All right, hey.
Oh, yay!
I can't believe we matched up on one. I guess it was bound
yeah.
to happen at some point.
I thought this house is really, really awesome from start to end.
Yeah.
I love the first scene where you're going through all the clothes, you're going through the closet, and there was the Orlando fire inspector.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
see
right.
that on the first scene, and then you go through and Loomis shooting Michael, and then you go through the outside portion, going through kind of the neighborhood type deal, and then the trick or treat, and then you're going through the whole hospital scene. I just thought that the sets were awesome, man.
Yeah.
The Michaels were freaking everywhere, coming at you from every angle. Michael's coming out of the dumpster. He's coming out of the lockers. He's coming out of, hospital areas. He's lifting people, animatronics, dunking people, and boiling their face off. I mean,
they weren't even worrying about continuity. There was more than one in each room in some points. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's coming at you from every angle.
Yeah.
If you thought he was bad in the first one, he's coming at you more than the first one. So yeah, I mean the sets were spot on. I mean, they even had hoses with water spigots. I mean, they didn't miss any angle in this house.
No.
So yeah, they nailed it. It was awesome. The only thing they missed was the spot on the lawn when he fell off the balcony. That's the only thing they fell short on. Other than that, everything spot freaking on.
Yeah, I don't know how they didn't do that. Have like the little indention in the grass of Michael Myers' body. He's like he just fell out of the window like 2 seconds ago, and he's already disappeared. But he's already made a full indention, like he's been there all night sleeping.
Yeah, I felt like that was pertinent, but I guess that maybe was too much. May have took up too much space for one scene, so they kind of had to be picky. So.
Yeah, I'm sure they talked about it in the design meetings, though. I'm sure that came up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Awesome. Well, yep. We'll just move on to. We're getting the big ones. Number 3. My number 3 was The Exorcist. I personally loved this house. The feeling that it gave you, and as you went through, it was just as unnerving. I feel like as the movie. I watched the movie way too young. That was one of the ones that made me love horror as much as it does now, but also I was way too young the first time I saw it, and that really freaked me out for a long time. But basically, when you walked in, that facade of the apartments was they got that spot on.
How did
so
I forget
good.
that? Yeah.
And then walking in, like you said, that's the scrim. It looks like you're walking through a hallway, and that switches to like essentially walking through hell. With the you have sculptures made of brimstone and everything behind it, and I believe that is supposed to represent you being possessed for the first time, because as Michael Aiello said, in interviews and stuff before the event, you are kind of going through what Reagan is going through, but you're also getting to see the scenes happen and play out as well. So in between those scenes, you are seeing the demon. That possessed her projected on the walls every once in a while, and that is what Reagan saw.
Right.
That's what she saw after she played with the Ouija board. Was there a Ouija board in the house?
I didn't see one. I think there's one in Hollywood, but
yeah, I was kind of surprised about that. I was expecting to see a big representation of a Ouija board, especially when they were talking about how
maybe we missed it.
Yeah, but even if we missed it, then it was a small thing. Like maybe like a feature in a room.
Yeah.
I was expecting because when he was talking about taking like little pieces and blowing them up, I thought they would do that literally with the Ouija board. I thought that
like
you would walk through it, in one of those scenes to break through, especially towards the end when it got more and more surreal as it went on. Because it did start off going through a lot of the typical scenes. But then, you'd go in between those scenes and you'd have the vomit-covered sheets.
So are you sure the first scene where it changes isn't supposed to be the Ouija board scenes off to the right-hand side? Where it's behind the scrim?
I don't believe so. I meant the actual, like, physical image of a Ouija board. I did not see that. Yeah, it might represent the playing with the Ouija board and becoming possessed, but it doesn't actually represent the board itself, which I think is a very iconic piece of it. That movie is one of the main movies that made people afraid of Ouija boards in the first place. Before that, it was just a board game, that people would play with. It wasn't so spiritual and evil. The connotations to it were not like that until after The Exorcist came out.
Well, I'll have to go through it again and see if I can find.
Find us a Ouija board.
It's very, it very well could have been overlooked.
Yeah, that's very possible. But yeah, the individual scenes, like Nina said, were very cool, representing the different parts. The priest scenes, where he was like, the power of Christ compels you while she's levitating and the fan was going on, was one of my favorite scenes, and there was very intense. And then every once in a while the actor would turn to you, and hold the cross up to you and say the line to you, which again made me feel like I was the one, being possessed slowly as you go through. And then I know Travis's favorite scene in this house. I'll leave it for you because I don't think you haven't mentioned this one yet. I don't believe so. I'm gonna leave that scene for you, but because you pointed it out to me, that's for sure. And then the end where it just totally changes again, and you see the demon's face, like in the flesh, basically, in the wall, that hole in the wall. You get to see him like fully referenced and fleshed out.
I just remembered something. So in the room with the scrim, remember in the movie he found that little item, the Pazuzu? The little, you know what I'm saying?
Like the idol?
Yeah, that doesn't this kind of look like, I just pulled it up on Google. If you search Exorcist movie artifact, and it's because the Zuzu, whatever it's called, whatever its name is, but remember this? That kind of looks like those quote-unquote gargoyle-y looking demons in there. So his little artifact was, in there.
Was represented.
Yeah, so the Pazuzu artifact.
That's definitely cool. Because I did really think that they were going to start off with like an Egypt scene and then move you into the other one. But just overall, I just thought, they did an amazing job. It was, to me, like American Werewolf. It was like a more like thematic visual, like a house, to look at and appreciate more than to get a scare out of. And with that, I thought it was very effective. So, that is my number 3, The Exorcist.
Yay. My number 3 is American Horror Story. Felt like a very, very long house, and it's basically all the reasons you both have said already for this. Well, everything, you've chimed in on it, but I really enjoyed the likeness to the show. I enjoyed, the sets, again, likeness to the show. Yep, like Travis said, there's not many scares, and I do, look for that in a house. Like, I enjoy the jump scares and the clever ways that they do scare. I didn't see as many clever, scares, but just so much was represented in there. It made me so happy. I'm not a super fan of the show, but I enjoyed it so much, more than all the other ones on the bottom of my list. So, yep, number 3, American Horror Story, pleasantly surprised.
All right.
And Travis is number 3.
My number 3 is going to be Ghost Town. This one, honestly, I would have put it lower on my list early on because I know I'm going against what I was saying earlier about I don't like bigger houses, but I felt like the set designs were really good in this one. On Friday night, opening night, I didn't get a whole lot of scares in it. But I think this one really has potential to grow. So I did get a lot more scares on Sunday. But I feel like it has a lot more potential to grow with the big sets and stuff like that. And I feel like if they could throw a couple more characters in a couple of different places, it may even go up on my list because this was actually my number one anticipated house. Mm-hmm. So I still feel like it can get there. It wasn't there this weekend, but I love the Wild West theme. I love the old, just ghost town. No pun intended. The Wild West thing is cool. I feel like they could just use the set a lot more than what they're using it for. So I like the effects. I like the rain. I like the lightning. Overall, I think it's an awesome house. And I think it can move up on my list as it goes on. So, I mean, I know it's kind of a generic review, but I think
a lot's already been said about it. So
that's my gold. Yeah. Where's my gold?
Awesome.
So, yeah, let's move on to 2.
All right. Well, my number 2 is American Horror Story. I think they did a really solid job with this. I love the rooms where they project the whole, like the entire wall of the room, or in some scenes the entire room, all around you with like those quick flashes like they do in the intros to the American Horror Story shows. Yeah, but the it would always say like American Horror Story and then like the Murder House, or whatever season it was, and then you walk through them, and that's how they cut basically between each season. I thought those were very effective. And I really liked that it would show the scene, like for example going into Freak Show, it showed the scene of the entrance to the actual Freak Show, the big mouth, the devil's mouth that you have to walk through. Essentially they showed that on the projection, and then you walk through the curtain there, and then it's actually there right in front of you. It wasn't as big as the Hollywood one, but I think it was still very, very cool. Freak Show was my favorite season that we've watched so far, so that it was really cool to see almost all the characters represented in the house, and to very good effect too. The scene where I don't remember any names from American Horror Story, but the main lady, the Elsa, yeah, getting her leg cut off.
Your mother-in-law's name? You don't even remember that name? Just kidding.
But yeah, getting her leg cut off there was awesome. Just a cool juxtaposition. The Siamese twins, while I was sad that they didn't figure out a way to rig that for a scare actor, seeing them featured in there was great. The scare actress that was playing the Kathy Bates character, the bearded woman, did a great job of just being an atmosphere character there. And it was also great that she kind of rubbed her beard and gave me a nod with my beard. She's like, yeah,
that's because I pointed at you.
Yeah, we just had that beard respect going on there.
Twins.
Yeah. Game respect game, beard respect beard, The Murder House portion though was also really cool. Not to pass that by. The walking right into the basement scene with the doctor, and the scare actors really did a good job on that one as well. Then moving on, my actual favorite part of the house was a season I didn't even watch, and that was the hotel one. It just had such a cool aesthetic for a house at Universal, and they did such a good job of pulling it off, the Art Deco style. I really liked that. I liked the Drake and Kanye playing, Is
that the one with Gaga?
Yeah. They did a really good job of portraying the characters. So much so that I could follow it, as we walked through. I've never seen the season on TV, but I felt like I could follow it enough to know somewhat of what was going on. I think they did a really effective job of that. That's something they also did in The Walking Dead house. While I hadn't seen every season, it was cohesive, and they did a really good job of telling the story through the house. And I think they did the same thing here.
Right.
Maybe not so much with the other seasons, but with the hotel season in particular, they did. And the characters are just so off the wall. I love the blue LED lighting behind the trophies, the body parts that she has collected, and the children in the caskets with that ultra, it's like the ultra fat, high fashion mixed with murder at the same time. That was just so cool and effective to me.
Interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for all those reasons, that's why American Horror Story made it to number 2 on my list.
My number 2 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This was my number 1 at one point, and it slowly has switched with what is now my number 1, what I'm saving for later. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre was phenomenal. Fan of the movie. Just everything I wanted, just like in Halloween 2, was in the house. You know, they can't just put generic set pieces of chairs and beds, because in the movie the chairs and beds are made of humans. So everything was bones, animal bones, human bones, the chairs, the house. A lot of people that aren't familiar with the fact that that was the Halloween house at one point and the Insidious house set at one point are very excited of the fact. Now they see it as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house set. So I know at first we were kind of down that, you know, they're just reusing, and it kind of looks like all these other, you know, front sets of houses, but
the facade,
the facade, yep. But I think it fits. I mean, if you look at it up in the movie, or
the interior is not the same at all. Just to make that clear.
No, the outside is like just like it is in the movie. So I wish we would, of course, go through the front door. We've been asking this forever, but it is what it is. It is a tent house, but it's just like the house. And you actually go to the scene, you know, with his little sliding door where Leatherface comes out under the staircase there. You go through that scene twice. I mean, it's such an important scene. You do it twice. The dining room scene is there. You get to see the brother, the dad. You feel it. You feel what, you know, that family feels, with the dad pressuring them to murder, and him, Leatherface, wanting to just murder. You just feel fear. It's very off-putting. Just all these dead people, and I felt like when I watched the movie. I absolutely love this house. It was really hard to pick it as number 2, but yeah, great house. If you can only pick a couple, do this one. I love it. I'm excited. And you're actually wearing that shirt right now, the Texas Chainsaw shirt. That's a shirt you picked up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my number 2 is going to be Exorcist. I thought from the start it was awesome. We're going through the first part where you have it's kind of a scrim, but if you touch it, it's actually metal. So where it switches from, like, you know, the theme song, and then it switches to like the demonic scenes. Mm-hmm. Then you've got the couple chances Reagans that jump out at you, and then you go into, I mean, the repeated scenes. You've got every iconic scene in there. You've got the pea scene where you have to push through the
sheets. Mattresses?
Green peas, sheets, and then you've got the spinning head scene. Mm-hmm. You've got the floating scene where the power of Christ compels you with the priest. You've got which I didn't think was done very well. You've got the crab walk scene, which I thought that was kind of like an afterthought. I felt like that was something that Hollywood did a lot better. It was actually like a whole scene where she's actually crab walking down the staircase. I felt like they could have used one of the staircases that they used in, because they had like 2 different facades, stair facades in Texas Chainsaw that they didn't really use that much. I felt like they could have used one of those to make the iconic crab walk scene.
Mm-hmm. Be a little bit more effective.
Overall, though,
it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Overall, I felt like it was more along the lines of kind of like the Insidious last year, where it was like more of a creepy, you know, kind of paranormal demon house.
Right.
I don't know. I like those kind of freakier houses better. So I felt like that's why it's set on number 2. I don't know. That was one of the first houses I did. So, yeah, it just sat with me better. I don't know. It just struck me. I didn't put it really high on my list, but it really surprised me. I liked it a lot.
Awesome. All right. Well, we are moving on to everybody's number 1. And I think we've talked about all the houses, so I won't have a whole lot to say on these. But my number 1 was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it's probably my favorite property that they've done. The movie is not the best movie in the world. It's not the best made movie, but I love Leatherface as a character. I think he is giant, menacing, and then also, has the mental capacity of a 3-year-old and is only doing what everybody has told him to do, and that is to kill, murder, maim, shred flesh from bone, and make some nice
furniture. Sounds like somebody else. Sounds a lot like Jason, doesn't it?
Oh. Parallels, parallels.
They're both big dummies.
Yeah.
They do what their parents
Yeah, but the difference between it is Jason is concerned if you are having premarital sex, drinking alcohol, or doing any kind of drugs. Meanwhile, Leatherface doesn't care.
Don't care if you're in a wheelchair.
Leatherface just sees you as meat and art supplies. He's just looking at you like a
furniture.
Yeah, he's just looking at you like a walking Michaels, essentially.
I will say that was the stinkiest house I've ever been through.
Yeah, but they did such a great job. As soon as you walk in there, it's just like this dusty, like dirt smell.
Feathers.
Like, they use that dirt smell that they have that is so effective.
I got like a dead body smell.
Yeah.
Well, I got that as you went into the house a little bit farther, but like the first thing I smelled was like the dust, dirt, like that dirty, dusty smell that
right.
That was really effective.
I completely forgot. One of the things in Texas Chainsaw that I love that put it up there on the list was in the movie. Do you remember the main character, that one girl character? She jumps out the window and she falls down and she like busts up her leg, but she gets away. Well, in the house, one of the last scenes, he's chasing her. The scare actress, she actually jumps out the window. Obviously, it's not a real window. The sound effect like glass breaks. And that's the end of the house. That's how you walk out of the house. Mm-hmm. And when I looked, like when you leave and go through the black curtain, the house is over, you look to the right and you see this little container, this box. So basically there's pillows there for her to jump through. But how cool was that? There's actually like a scene where she's jumping out the window. It's in the house. I remember that. Just look out for that. It's really cool. I don't think you caught it the first time. Yeah.
No, and that's not the only scene that plays out in there. There's actually a couple of scenes that play out as well. That scene that we were talking about with the door closing and slamming shut. They do play that out like a full scene too. When that door opens first, it's not Leatherface, it's the guy from the movie, and he's like, help me, please help me, you gotta help me. And then Leatherface comes from behind him and takes him out. And then slams that door shut, and they did do a good job. I talked about it on the show before. I want to hear that door slam, and I want it to be like a really good, like heart pounding thud, and it was. So
you have to be set up right for it though.
Yeah,
like the first time I went through there, I felt, I don't know, that scene is kind of long. I felt like if they feed it, if they sped it up a little bit, I felt like that scene could be more accurate, because I feel like the guy kind of like just lumbers towards the wall, and then Leatherface kind of hits him slowly with the hammer, and then it's like I don't know, the whole scene takes like 15 to 20 seconds. I felt like you can miss it easily. It is a good scene if you can see it all, but if you miss it, it's a big scene to miss.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think that just tells you the difference between creative versus the team that actually has to get people through the event, because creative wants you to go a little slower through the houses and see those kind of things and take everything in, but then the actual event team needs you to get through those houses as fast as possible, because there's a ton of people behind you that need to go through as well. So I did felt like they were a little bit more present than last year. The people that
they're moving you out.
Some of them actually getting vocal again, which I did not like at all. But anyways, the other thing that I was kind of bummed out about was they didn't really portray the hammer scene very well, in my opinion. Like where the grandfather is supposed to be attempting to kill the girl with the hammer. They just had him kind of sitting at the table.
Yeah, he looked like he was dead.
It looked like they had something set up for that, but they didn't use it. Like it's either not working right or what. You're gonna have to let us know later on in the event if that changes.
I'm sure it'll be set up later on. Yeah, that's one of the good things about coming later on in the event. So these things do change drastically. So that's what we're saying. These lists could move around, at least in my opinion.
And a couple
you guys are going one more time. So
we are.
See.
But yeah, and that I've also heard the same thing about American Horror Story as far as what you were saying about the scares. I heard that not everything was in place this weekend that should have been. So,
Right.
So hopefully we'll see some more coming out of that as well. But yeah, and then my of course my favorite part is the John Larroquette narration room where they had the narration from the beginning of the movie happening at the same time as those flash bulbs and that iconic sound, the from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh God, I love that sound so much. I'm so glad they incorporated that into the house as well. So it's for all those reasons that it was my number one house this year.
Yay! My number one was Tomb of the Ancients. Same exact reasons that you both have given for reasons why the house is amazing. I do love houses that make me feel like I gotta work to get through it. We haven't seen in about 2 years any houses that's going to make us duck or kind of dive or do a weird trick. This house makes me feel like I'm going through a jungle gym for adults. It's just, there's when you look up, you don't see top of a tent, you don't see top of a house, or you see the top of a, tribal cave, and it's surrounding. It's so you have to squeeze through certain areas with a moving floor that freaked us out. It was so dark, and they also really did something cool that I enjoyed at the beginning. The brick walls. You don't think where can there possibly be a scare actor? And those walls are actually like rubbery or foam, and they were squeezing through there and jump out. And I'm like, what the heck? There was one part of the house that was interesting. I didn't know if they were trying to get people to split up, but there was that circular path, like the path of people. Kind of, you could have gone left or right and gone around, and then gone back on the line. Most people were sticking to the left side, but it looked like that was made to be. Do you think?
Yeah, it looked like you were supposed to go around either way you
but
wanted.
No thanks, because it's scary.
I don't know why. All it would do is just cause more congestion in that area, but
it was so well done.
Yeah, nobody mentioned it too, but that we have our new spine rip scene in that one too.
Yes.
The heart pull scene instead.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
It was so well done.
Why you gotta take my line, dude?
Oh, sorry.
It's just
now I got nothing to talk about.
Oh, man.
You guys go.
I love this house so very much. A little overdone with all the vines in your face, but it just added more to just you feel like you're in the jungle. It was fantastic. Favorite
all
house
those rubbery
of the night.
vines in the jungle.
Yeah, rubbery. There's so much more to say. I can't even think of them all now. Favorite house,
Just
best
go
house
see
of 26.
Well, I guess we gave away Travis's number one as well.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know what to say now because you guys gave away everything I was going to say. My talking point.
Well, we're running really late, so we'll say it's cool.
It's cool, yay!
Yeah,
but yeah, man,
it was most excellent.
Yeah, and I know you were definitely talking this house up because the confined areas and everything, and everything that you said about the other houses. You love that the tight jumps, and they had some pretty intense scares in here as well. So.
Yeah, this is definitely not a house if you're claustrophobic. Yeah. The cool one thing you guys didn't hit on that I thought was cool was this is the only house this year or in a long time that I've seen them actually put a ceiling or a roof on the house, so that makes it more. You feel like you're more confined. You actually feel like you're actually in a tomb.
Definitely.
You don't. This house is very hard to, like Nina was saying, it's hard to figure out where you need to go. With the vines hanging down, a lot of the stuff kind of looks. The textures kind of look the same, so it's kind of hard to figure out where you need to go.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're doing the conga line through there, so you obviously can figure out where to go. But the guest activated trigger is really cool. Yeah. Like you said, they have the new spine rip scene in there, with where they rip the heart out. The hieroglyphics in the the light up scene, because it just hits you right there. Like everything is dark, and then you see the hieroglyphics, and
I think that's the one thing you can see in our video from it on YouTube.
Yeah, and then the moving floor is cool. You don't expect that.
There's another thing you can talk about. One thing that we haven't mentioned in there.
What?
Remember the thing we saw from the other house at the very end?
What?
See if Travis remembers first.
I don't remember.
So we can talk about it.
At the end of the house?
Yes, it was some reused technology.
I don't.
Oh, I remember.
Something from American Werewolf, Travis?
Never smile at a crocodile.
Crocodile? Yeah. The thing is awesome.
It freaked me out.
Yeah, it's the reused American Werewolf puppet. That thing lunged out at you. I think it actually hit you one time.
It did. I'm suing. I think the puppeteer just went way too far out, and he pinned me against the wall with it. So as I walked through,
it freaked me out. You don't expect a giant crocodile alligator thing to come out the wall.
I mean, and he actually they pushed it out of the wall so far. I don't think they were totally used to the amount of space that they had in there, because he actually hit me with it. So
I didn't know whether or not you were talking about the crocodile or if you were talking about that hot dog pizza that I still haven't tried yet.
That was a piece of technology that returned, that's for sure. Yeah, and we are running really late on this one. We're gonna have another show where we talk more in depth about these scare zones, but let's just go through our rankings. Yes, so let's just go through our rankings really quick on the scare zones from number 5 to number 1. Travis, since you went last before, you want to start?
All right, I'm going to go with number 5 is going to be Lair of the Banshee. It's the same thing over and over. It's stuff on the side of you, people on stilts. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. It was kind of a little bit more boring to me than it was last year. I liked Evil's Roots a little bit better. 4 is probably...
Run through them quickly here.
4 is going to be Chance. 3 is going to be damn, I forgot him.
This is the guy that said he didn't need to write him down.
Don't.
Right.
So my 5 was actually Chance. I'm sorry, Chancey. 4 was Banshee's Lair. 3 was Survivor Die. 2 was Dead Man's Wharf. That makeup though. And number 1 was Vamp 1955. So much fun. Mm-hmm. Just go real quick. Give Travis some more time to figure it out, because I know they're actually pretty good this year, so he's probably still trying to...
Yep. 5 was Chance for me as well. Number 4 was Banshee. Same. 3 was Dead Man's Wharf for me. 2 was Survivor Die. Because, apparently Gas Mask are my favorite thing in the world, because... I had a great time in that one. And number 1, Vamp 1955.
Yeah!
So definitely dug those.
Can't wait to talk more about them, because it's going to be... I'm excited to share the stuff that we saw, creative things and new things. I'm excited. But, that'll be for next show. We can also talk about food and drink. And
So what were your top ones, Travis?
Yeah, Travis, did you decide?
I'm just going to go with 1 and 2. Vamp is 1,
Yay.
and then Survivor Die would be 2.
Yeah, I don't think any of us thought the Vamp was going to be that high up on our list, but it turned out to be an awesome scare zone. We can talk about that one real quick, because it's number 1.
Yeah, I just think
Okay, good.
I think that the character interactions are a lot better in there.
Yeah, they do a great job with it. Like, they actually get to talk to people, which is something scare actors don't normally get to do a whole lot of, so they picked a good crew, I think.
Yeah. The HHN principal is really cool. I had my hat backwards. He told me to turn my hat around, young man.
Awesome.
Or I was going to get detention.
Oh, I didn't even see him. That was awesome.
Yeah, the interactions are just cool, man. Just to see them almost act like they're humans, and then you can see them kind of twitch and do their thing and kind of put their vampire, characteristics into play. And that ice cream man, though, that dude is crazy. Ask you what you want. Said it's full of protein. Opens up, you got livers, hearts, legs, hands, everything.
Yeah.
So that's I honestly didn't really think it was going to be that great of a scare zone, but when they threw it out, and it's a very simple scare zone, but the actors make it
exactly
100%.
Definitely
take a simple idea and really took it to the next level.
Yeah, and I love all the homecoming queens there, like stuck in the middle, like screaming for help and that kind of thing, and you're just walking by taking pictures of them and stuff.
Shout out to the Symbols Lady Vampire marching. Yes, they took marching band and made it cool.
So that was definitely a really cool scare zone. And then we'll just say real quick that Travis really enjoyed Bill and Ted. We thought it was better than the previous year one, definitely. There was much less Kanye. I don't think there was any Kanye, so I was okay with that.
No.
Yeah. But really,
I don't know. Maybe we have a different represent. Well, I feel like we have kind of the same sense of humor, but maybe some of the jokes didn't hit for you guys. But I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny with the not Kylo Ren, but Rilo Ken.
Yeah.
Kind of being the emo kid that he is. The whole thing set around that, and I thought the dancing was kind of funny, and the Hillary Clinton with the hot sauce. Did you guys see that one?
Yeah. Yes, we did. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just overall thought it was a funny, good time. I don't know, maybe it was because I had a couple drinks, but might have been a little funnier for you guys.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's one of those things that you kind of have. It's more fun if you have like a group with you, and you kind of, I don't know, I guess it's kind of a camaraderie thing where people like that to get friends together and have a couple drinks, and I don't know.
Okay. But I think just one thing that really blew all of us away, something we weren't expecting, is just how awesome the Academy of Villains show was. That thing, yeah. I was fangirling out after that for sure. These guys were like telling me to shut up about how awesome I thought it was. Like, I seriously think it's the best show that Universal's put on, and they didn't even put it on, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the highlights of the show, or the event for sure. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. I'm obviously not a fan of any kind of dance type thing, because that's just not my deal. But it's more than a dance show. You got the shadow puppet type things, and
the crazy man that can do everything. Literally everything a human can do, and some things humans can't even do. They had one guy that could do everything and more. So
skateboard, unicycle, play the drums,
sign flip,
knives,
fire toss.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely.
Sign spin.
I think it just puts a cap on another really solid year. Do I think this year is better than last year? Unfortunately, not. But I still think it's a very solid year.
Agreed.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very close for. I mean, you could, I don't know, just the nostalgia of what 25 was, of all the past houses, and obviously anniversary era. You can't quite replicate that just because of what it is. It's anniversary year, but I think they came very close. It's definitely not a flop by any means. It's very good, I think.
All right.
Agreed. Yeah.
And we are running on to about an hour and a half. We usually like to keep this around an hour, but this is the review show, of course, so we were going to go on a little bit longer. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking about everything a lot more as time goes on throughout our review period here. But of course, follow us at Dead Man's Digest on Twitter. We'll probably see a lot of posts there from Travis as he goes out there every night, or a lot of the nights of the event coming up here with his Rush of Fear. Or Frequent Fear. I don't remember which one you got.
Frequent.
All right, so you get a little bit of a break, right? And then you get to go again?
Yeah, next one will be Thursday.
All right. Awesome. Well, yeah, again, follow at Dead Man's Digest on Twitter. Also, Dead Man's Digest on Instagram as well. Travis has been posting up a lot of his pictures there that are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be posting up more of the ones we got on Media Night as well. Thanks to Universal for the invite to the media event. That was really cool of them. You can go to our page, Facebook group, the Dead Man's Digest, and see all the video that we took there. Video of the houses is there, as well as the full media presentation. Nina sacrificed her arm for that one, so thank you, Nina.
That'll be Travis next year. I quit.
Yeah, I actually watched that tonight. That was actually pretty awesome.
Yeah. So definitely check that out. There were some surprise guests and everything that were really cool. So join the Dead Man's Digest group on Facebook and check that out as well. So until the next show, sleep well.